you'll want to de-escalate the situation.
De-escalate. No escalating. Guys, I'm not gonna fight you. I'm here on vacation.
Find this nobody. Scorched earth.
I just want a break.
This week on Talking About the Movies, Bob Odenkirk is back as the nobody who kicked a ton of ass 4 years ago, and this time he gets to do it again in the sequel, Nobody 2. We'll take a look at that one, plus...
I guess that's it. Time to go home and face the hatchet.
We're gonna go out there and suck every bit of fun out of those before you lose them.
Together.
We're all gonna suck your
What?
I meant we're just going along for the ride as you enjoy your before you lose them.
We're off leash!
Yeah, this is certainly not your Dexter's Laboratory, Genndy Tartakovsky. He's back with a brand new animated movie that is certainly much more raunchier than the Hotel Transylvania movies, but is it a bad movie? We'll look and see. It's the Netflix release Fixed, a double feature this week on Talking About the Movies. And welcome to Talking About the Movies as we continue my 20th anniversary of me covering the biggest new releases of the weekend. We have two new releases to look at, one that's playing in theaters and one that you can watch from the comfort of your home on Netflix. We'll take a look at Genndy Tartakovsky's latest animated feature, Fixed, which is certainly a much different animal, quite literally, than some of his other works. But before we get to that, of course, there's a big new sequel out in theaters this weekend that stars Bob Odenkirk, and it's a sequel to the breakout hit from a couple years ago, and that is Nobody. This is Nobody 2. As I mentioned before, this is a sequel to the 2021 movie in which we have Bob Odenkirk back again as suburban dad Hutch Mansell, a former lethal assassin, and is pulled back into his violent past after thwarting a home invasion, setting off a chain of events that unravel secrets about his wife Becca's past and his own. And of course, they go, if you've seen the trailers, they're going out to this vacation place that they think is a vacation area, but it turns out it's actually an underground corrupt town of people where one of the leaders is Sharon Stone. And also you have Colin Hanks and John Ortiz back from the original movie. Connie Nielsen, RZA, Christopher Lloyd is back as well. A lot of the same people are back from this one, except for the director, Ilya Hassanauer, the person that did Hardcore Henry. Ila Neischuler. I completely am butchering that name, but I know that same person did Hardcore Henry, which was a fantastic, underrated gem of a movie. And Nobody was a really good movie, too. I don't usually talk about that one that much, but hey, any chance you get to see Saul Goodman kicking a bunch of people in their ass and, you know, really cool action in the style of the John Wick movies. I mean, this is made by the same people who did the John Wick movies. David Leitch is the producer, who was 87 North Productions. Derek Kolstad, the writer of the John Wick franchise, also wrote Nobody. And, of course, they wrote the sequel here, too. And the trailer's not going to tell you, really hooked me in right from the get-go. Their usage of Holiday Road in the first trailer. I've watched that trailer probably more than 50 times since it came out. I mean, I love that trailer. The editing on that was great. And it sets you up for what this movie is essentially. Because if you like the first Nobody, chances are you're going to really enjoy the second one. Because I really did enjoy the hell out of this movie. And a lot of it comes from that you do like seeing Bob Odenkirk in this role of him coming around, beating the crap out of people in these bizarre ways. This is a movie that delivered more than something like another movie that the same company did earlier in the year, Love Hurts did, where you have Ke Huy Quan and Ariana DeBose and a Valentine's Day-esque holiday is action comedy, something like in the veins of what they did with Violent Night, which was a Christmas action comedy, which worked really well. Love Hurts didn't do that so much, and that ended up being one of the big disappointments of the year so far. But this one really did not disappoint. I actually had a pretty damn good time watching this movie. I thought it was a ton of fun. Like, the stylish action in this movie, once again, top notch. The way it's presented, it's so well done. And you do like hanging around with all these people. You do like hanging around Bob Odenkirk and his family. You do like the fact that he is trying the best he can to hold it together, even though he gets put into these situations that, I mean, he's basically the John McClane of the situation. Like, he just wants to be a normal person, and just everything and just something that happens around him, like all the stuff that happens around him, you know, he has no choice but to go back and to do what he did beforehand. And, like, I mean, he is trying his best in here, and I like the fact that at a certain point that even his family is just kind of like, you know, we know you're trying your best, but you know what, at this point, you just got to do what you got to do here. Even, I mean, you hear it in the trailer when Connie Nielsen, his wife, basically tells him, go fix this shit. I mean, that's literally kind of her idea throughout the course of the movie. I do like that the family also gets involved in here, too. This movie actually does kind of remind me a lot of a criminally underrated Arnold Schwarzenegger action film from back in about 12 years ago, The Last Stand, which... terrific movie, very much in the same format here. That movie is just a good, fun, over-the-top action movie. A great comedy overall too. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger has one of my favorite lines. I still am pissed off that there's no T-shirts available for it. I want a T-shirt of him just saying, "I'm the sheriff," and like that line in that movie is just so good. I mean, I love that line so much, and I love that movie so much. It's a silly movie, but a fun film overall. I got flashbacks to that watching this movie here, because there are a lot of stylistic, cool sequences with the action in general. Like you've seen in the trailer where they're going to the fun house, and Bob Odenkirk's rigged the whole thing up with explosives on it, and the guys who are coming in to kill him are just like, oh, like they have this shock look in their face, like, oh, like that's great stuff to watch, and that's in the movie overall, and it is a fun film overall. The director of this is Timo Tjahjanto, who had done stuff like May the Devil Take You, The Night Comes for Us, The Big Four, did some segments for the ABCs of Death and VHS, which I've never seen any of those things in particular, so I'm relatively coming into this unknown, and I gotta say, not bad cinematography on this whatsoever. The guy who did the cinematography for this, Talon Green, does a pretty good job with the cinematography overall. If there is one thing about the movie that I would say I was a little disappointed by, it's Sharon Stone playing the bad guy and the mastermind behind this, because it's been a long time since we've seen Sharon Stone in a good movie, and I thought her performance in here was going to be a chaotic, fun performance, but no, she's actually underplaying it too much, and for that I was just kind of like, man, this movie was so close to being really damn good, and Sharon Stone comes in, and it's just kind of like, she's just kind of there to play the stock leader of this group of evil people, and it's just kind of like, come on, man, like... We know Sharon Stone can act and has been good in movies in the past, and I thought maybe this would be a chance for her to come back in style, but yeah, she was the one person where I was just kind of like, yeah, this thing is kind of taking it down a notch for me. Not to the point where I hated the movie, but it's kind of like, she's just kind of a bland villain, and it didn't really do a whole lot with her, unfortunately, and it really let me down when it happened. I mean, I was just kind of like, man, come on. Like, you got her in here for a reason. Like, Colin Hanks I thought was kind of fun here, so was John Ortiz, but other than that, though, yeah, Sharon Stone was probably the big weak link of the entire movie overall, and she's supposed to be the main villain of the movie, and just kind of like, come on. I mean, she's right there. Give her something to do, for God's sakes, but besides that overall, this is a very fun movie. I mean, it's not a movie that's supposed to break new boundaries. It's only an hour and a half long. I mean, it's not a long movie whatsoever. It gets in, it gets in, it gets out. It doesn't leave you with saying that, oh, this went on a little bit too long, maybe this went on a little bit too long. No, it's a comfort food movie. It's a movie that is relatively good to watch for the most part. If the villain had been much better, this thing probably would have been, is probably one of my favorite movies of the summer. But as it is, it's still good enough for me to give it a thumbs up. I think it is a very good film overall. Yeah, what more can you say, man? Nobody 2, you love the first one, you're going to love this one too, so... With that said, let's go ahead and, we're not even going to bother going to a commercial break right now. Let's just go ahead and wrap this up with the other film I have here. Because I won't be too long on this one either, because I just watched it today after I got back from Nobody 2. And, actually yesterday, I'm sorry, I said today, but no, I saw Nobody 2 today. I saw our next movie yesterday, and that was, of course, Genndy Tartakovsky's latest film, which is Fixed. Of course, Genndy Tartakovsky has been more associated with, essentially, a lot of people's nostalgia. I mean, this is the guy whose work goes all the way back to the 1990s. I mean, this is the guy that gave us Dexter's Laboratory. He was one of the people behind the Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack, Star Wars: The Clone Wars before the Clone Wars TV series, Symbiotic Titan, the Hotel Transylvania movie. So no matter what age group you're in, you know who this guy is, and you know his work overall. And you have a script also co-written by John Vitti, one of the veteran Simpsons writers. So again, common sense would tell you that these two things coming together should make for a really good film, right? Well, let's talk about it, because this is one of those films where it's definitely a very interesting ride, to say the least. So in the movie, you have Adam Devine voicing Bull, who's an above average all-around good dog, and discovers he's going to be neutered in the morning. He realizes he needs one last adventure with his pack of buddies, as they are also in the last 24 hours with his balls. What could possibly go wrong? Well, in a movie like this, a lot can go wrong, and, you know, it's funny that we're getting this not but 2 years after the last movie that tried to be a raunchy dog comedy with Strays came out, which was a terrible movie. I can tell you, I saw that in the theater. I was just kind of like, oh my god, what the hell was that? But this one is definitely a whole lot better. Not by that much, but I'll explain more in just a second here. But you have a cast that includes Idris Elba, Catherine Hahn, Fred Armisen, Beck Bennett, Bobby Moynihan, Michelle Buteau, Gray DeLizzle, Julie Nathanson, Kari Wahlgren, Darren Norris. A lot of veteran voice actors in here. And a concept overall that is very fun to watch, but the trailer overall, I think the trailers really kind of screwed this over in the first place, because when that first trailer came out, it was a bad trailer. I mean, it was a trailer that made you go like, what the hell were you thinking trying to sell the movie like this? The trailer that was on the Netflix page was much better, and it actually made the movie look more interesting and more intriguing overall, but this one, I don't know, this first trailer, I don't know what the hell they were thinking, because if there is this theory going on right now that some movies out there are just have marketing people behind it who hate the movie so much that they're going to do everything in their power to try to make the film not sell. And I'm willing to more than believe that, especially with a movie like this, because, yeah, those trailers kind of ruined watching this for a lot of people in general. But I watched it, and I'll say this. It's a good movie. It's not up to the levels of somebody like Genndy Tartakovsky's work. I forgot about Primal, too. How could I forget about Primal? But, I mean, this is a guy that has made masterpieces one after another. I just mentioned all of them. You know, Primal, Symbiotic Titan, Dexter's Laboratory. He worked on the Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack, Star Wars Clone Wars. Even stuff that you don't remember all that much. Like, most people forget that he did Unicorn Warrior Eternal, which was kind of a fun show that ran for about a year. The Hotel Transylvania movies are great movies overall. They're really fun films. And with this one, I don't know what really went wrong with it, but my thinking overall is that there's good ideas in here, but trying to make a movie like this is very hard to do. It's very complicated to do, and there has to be a really good hook overall to sell it to where the point that it could actually work. I mean, the best example of this is a movie that is coincidentally another Sony animated raunchy film that's rated R, Sausage Party, which is very much an acquired taste animated film, a film that you really need to be in the right age group to enjoy gross out humor, but in a very unique and stylized way, because Sausage Party is definitely a movie that is very similar to this film in general. It's a film that takes something that doesn't feel like it should fit into this type of a norm. I mean, you don't normally associate something like this with a more family-friendly movie. Like, Sausage Party worked because it felt like a Pixar movie, except with a rated R hook to it. And it's a film that is definitely one of those ones that you gotta be somebody who admires all different kinds of animation, specifically the adult animations that you see on, like, Adult Swim, or even Fox shows. Like, something on the lines of a Family Guy or an American Dad, with like a gross out humor, and also out of insanity humor, if there is even a term for that, like humor that is just so out there that you just got to be so into it to really admire what it actually is. And Sausage Party was definitely that, and this movie definitely feels like something that, if you like Sausage Party, you'll find some value in this movie and all because, yeah, it's a movie that works because of the animation and because of how strange it is. The voice acting overall is fine. I think the weak link overall is Adam Devine, which he has that kind of a nasally voice that kind of gets old very quickly, but never to the point where it really kind of ruins the ebb and flow of the film. There are some jokes that really are just kind of there and don't really hold a whole lot. Like, honestly, going back to the voice acting, I mean, not really a surprise, but Idris Elba plays probably the most exciting character in the entire movie. He's the one that actually is putting his A game into this and really comes out with the best jokes of the entire film. The comedy overall is very well done for the most part. But then there are times when there are obvious jokes, like they go to a strip club with all these dogs going around, and like that stuff's just kind of like, sometimes you get a good chuckle here and there, but not to the point where I would say that works all the way through. But no, it's just kind of like, I mean, it's not bad, but it could have been a whole lot better, especially with the people behind this who wrote this. John Vitti, of course, who is notable, of course, like I said, writing the older seasons of The Simpsons. But like I said before, this is a movie that really is going to work for you if you are a fan of something like the type of humor that's on a show like Family Guy or American Dad or The Cleveland Show. And you know what? Some of that humor can work, especially on shows like American Dad. I think American Dad overall is the best of the Seth MacFarlane type of shows. Like, if you love South Park humor, you'll probably get a kick out of this. Like, I think if you are somebody who really likes the adult animated humor and done it in a way that actually is very funny, like in those shows, this is a film that I think can work in your favor. It's a movie that's definitely not going to be for everybody, per se. I know it's not going to be that, but it is, for what it is still fun overall. It is still fun to see a 2D animated movie that was clearly intended for the big screen presented this way. I think it overall is a decent film overall. It's not a classic film by any means necessary. It's not a great film overall, but it is a film that I would say, like, if it ever plays on Comedy Central in the future, like next to Sausage Party, I think you can get a lot of value out of it by watching that as a double feature. I think there's both a lot to admire in both of those movies. I mean, Genndy Tartakovsky doesn't half-ass his way around this movie. You can tell that he is trying in here. I don't think it's his best work overall, but you can still tell that he's putting in a lot of effort into this and putting 110% in there. It's still a fun film overall. Not a great movie by any means necessary, but still enough for me to give it a solid recommendation overall for a thumbs up. If you like Sausage Party, if you like adult animated shows like South Park or American Dad or Family Guy, that type of humor, you'll definitely find a lot of value in this movie overall. It's not a movie that is like a cheap knockoff in any way, shape, or form. It's a film that clearly is trying. Maybe it's not trying the best overall, but it's still trying enough for me to say it's worth a watch, and you can easily watch it on Netflix at home and feel comfortable about it. I think it is a fun film overall. Like I said, there's a lot of gross-out humor in this that doesn't quite work, and some of the jokes do kind of get old pretty fast, but like I said, it's certainly a better option than the similar Strays that came out 2 years ago. Strays was just an abominable mess of a movie. This is like Strays if it actually worked, which once again proves that, hey, animated movies are kicking the crap out of live-action movies, because here's essentially a live-action remake of Strays, an animated remake of Strays, and it's done a whole lot better than the live-action movie. So take that for what you will. But, anyway, yeah, that's basically one of the quicker episodes I've done, honestly, because I didn't take my usual break and all that, and I got through these reviews pretty quickly. So, with all that said, that's going to wrap this episode of talking about the movies up. Let me know your thoughts down below. What you think of Nobody 2? What you think of Fix? Let me know your thoughts down below. And also, if you did enjoy this, please go ahead and hit that like button, the subscribe button, the notification button. And also, don't forget to check out the last episode I did where I took a look at Weapons of Freak Friday, as well as our playlist below. And also, tune in for next week's episode, where I realized that it has been a while since I've done a straightforward 20th anniversary special show. Not since the summer movie season kind of began, honestly. All the way back in May. We've had nothing but reviews of newer movies every single week. But next week, no big new releases are coming out for me to do a review on. So next time around, we'll take a look at another special 20th anniversary list I have here of the best and worst movie years of the last 20 years. I kind of ranked down the last 20 years worth of movie years, figuring out which ones were the best years, which one were the not so great years, and putting them together into a compiled little list here. So I'll definitely take a look at those, and I'll show you my thoughts on those coming up on the next episode. So with all that said, we will leave you with a look at movies now playing in theaters, and until the next time I see you, thanks for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Take care. Right.